Hey everyone, and welcome to the 8-Figure Agent Podcast. My name is Jared Larsen, and I'm joined by my co-host Matt Walker, CEO of Swivel, the world's most flexible financial services CRM. Our mission is to build community, a community where we can empower each other to achieve remarkable success in the financial sector. Join Matt and me every week as we will motivate you to reach new heights in your career and unlock your full potential. Reaching your next level of success starts now. Hi, and welcome back to the 8-Figure Agent. I'm Jared Larsen alongside Matt Walker. Today, we're going to be discussing how to develop a deeper connection with your clients. And we're really going to start from the things that you can actively do, signs that you may need to connect more, and then ultimately really dive into how you can proactively foster relationships with your clients. And there's no better person that I could pass the mic to than Matt Walker and his ability to grow his practice, his business. But I will tell you something that I think he does better than anybody else I've ever met: connect with clients. So Matt, talk to us about this conundrum and where do we need to start?
Well, so I think that it's important to kind of back up a little bit and decide what your business is and what your business model is. And I'm going to give it by kind of maybe more of an extreme example. There's a very successful agent I know that he has a great relationship with his clients, but it's a very unique relationship. And he particularly sells fixed index annuities. And the way he approaches it is he will sell a fixed index annuity to a person, and he'll do everything suitable. He does it right. He's a phenomenal agent. You want wealth management, all the other products, I don't care, go to someone else. I'm just helping you keep this portion of your money safe, is kind of his approach. And then he'll tell him, hey, look, we don't really need to review this. If you're looking to review it with someone else, you can go online. Here's what you do. But this is kind of a set it and forget it type account. And if you don't think it is, then we shouldn't be doing this. And he sets up a relationship with all of his clients that he doesn't service this.
Interesting.
He sets it up, and then he's there to help them set it up. Now, if they got a question or two, you go to the company. And I remember watching that, and it's so different than the way I do things. And at first I was a little bit like, oh, how horrible, And now I've gotten off my high horse and like watched a lot of successful people, a lot of successful agents. His clients are very content with him because he does such a phenomenal job of what the product is and the expectation going into it that he doesn't have anyone coming back mad at him. And they're all servicing their own products. And so he has very little service time. His clients are all very, very happy. And he's built up a great relationship with his business model.
It's interesting that you would lead with that story, Matt, because as I'm saying, you told me that and I'm like, well, you can't do that. Like you have to service them and take care of them and always be there for every beck and call. And you need to.
Yeah. And that's more of like my approach of how I want to handle things. But his was very different. But and this is the key point you're going to hear me say over and over again. What do you do? Say it and do it. And he does it. I've also, one of the businesses we set up to where the lead we were responsible for getting the lead. It was more of a call center approach. The agent was responsible for making the sell. And the agent we wanted in and out as quick as possible. And the relationship relied upon the customer service person. And so we also knew it was a phone call sell. And so the whole thing was virtual. And so we didn't have people eye to eye making, shaking hands. It was very far of like, this is what we do. We will sell you this product. And then what we'll do is anytime you have questions, you can call us at any time and you'll have a person like me to pick up your phone call and help you through any process along the way. And that was the model. And so the connection, again, was my relationship with these people is if I have a question, this is the number to call. If I have service issues, this is the person to call. But guess who they weren't calling? The sales rep.
Yeah.
And so we set it up that way. And it, again, great customer service for what that business was. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my practice, but it's important to know right at the beginning, you've got to know what business you're in and what you're really doing and what you're saying. Because for me, I get a lot of client referrals, and I've done the analytics. I've had a lot of businesses. I'm telling you, the best way to get cheapest way to get a client is through a referral. And so how you go about doing that is a bunch of different things. So our approach in our practice is we focus more on retirement, and so we even have a theme in our company. Live well, retire with confidence. And so our customers come in knowing that theme: live well, retire with confidence. And we have 4 key principles that help people have confidence. And we talk to our organization and we say, hey, name a time when you've had confidence in an organization. Walk me through it. What did that organization do well that made you have confidence? What did they do that took that confidence away? And so in order for people to have confidence in their retirement, they have to have confidence in us. And we've kind of got our things that we do to make sure that people have confidence in us.
Yeah.
And then it comes down to the way that I do my meetings is I often will speak the most in the first meeting. I ask questions and I do the suitability, but I speak more. And then after that, it's mostly me listening for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to listen. You got to be, able to just relate and remember. There are certain people that have a natural gift to remember everyone's name. I do not have that gift. But what I do have is a good CRM where I can find the name, and every time I'm talking to the person, I go out of my way to say their name multiple times, so they feel remembered and feel like they're known. And then you have to have a process of again, do what you say you're going to do. So with ours, we do at least an annual review once a year. With us, we also do client events. And so, for example, next Monday, I'm doing a giant bingo event, and we're having a couple hundred people come in, and we're doing bingo.
How fun. That's cool.
And, winners get these small little gifts and some bragging rights. We have a little buffet dinner that they can have. And what I'll do in each of those events is a little commercial, and it usually ties into the 4 things that we do for having people live well and retire with confidence. And everyone gets a little 4 commercials on what we're doing there now. And if you're not doing this, come see us so we can continue your confidence and let you just live and enjoy your retirement and live well. And then we do, some other ones that we have is we've done shredded events where we have a shredded company come and you send out, hey, bring all your stuff. And you'd be surprised how much people come in the crap they bring. I had a guy bring a giant van once, and he had papers like stacked into the van, and he just sat there and he was just he's like, this is the best event ever. I didn't know people stored that much paper. And so that was a real popular one. And then one that, I want to claim that I invented this. All right. And I'm going to tell you why I claim it. And I'm sure there's someone who did it before me, but I want to claim that I invented this one. I was at an event at a big insurance company almost 18 years ago, or 17 years ago, somewhere in there. And we had breakout groups. And in the breakout groups, I got put with the top producer of the company. I'm sitting there, we're talking about what we do with clients, and this idea comes to my head. And I was like, well, what if during Thanksgiving time, you just gave everyone pies? I mean, they're like $5. And people could come to your office, pick up the pumpkin pie, and you could just say thank. I mean, how easy is that event? And this is when I had like 300 clients, right?
Yeah.
That I'm coming up with this idea. And the top producer, who I didn't know at the time, turns over and he says, do you do that? And I was like, I'm thinking about, I'm like kind of fumbling,
starting
like
tomorrow,
wanting to say yes, but like not really have done it ever. And he's like, he's got this great Tennessee accent, one of the most amazing people I ever met. And he's like, well, I'm going to do that. And so he did it. So did I. And then a bunch of agents started doing it. And man, the goodwill that comes from that. My staff now hates Thanksgiving because we have hundreds and hundreds of pies that we're giving out. We have people coming in, but I'm telling you, every time they come in, guess what they're doing?
Yeah.
Bringing money.
Yeah.
They're bringing money, and they're recommending people, and they'll have like their friends come and say, my advisor gives me a pie every single Thanksgiving. And guess what I get to do? We get to hand them a pie, get to look them in the eye, shake their hand and say, thank you so much, Bill. We really appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. And every once in a while, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? And so that's just a great little idea of, what we've done. The one thing I will tell and warn you, which is why the pie thing is was great at the beginning, became problematic. If you start it, don't stop it. So use wisdom in what you start, because as soon as you stop it, because one year we had this great idea, we're not going to give out pies, we're going to give pie certificates. Company's done well as it ever had been. And guess what I had people doing? Calling me up being like, Matt, what's going on with your company? Is everything going well still? No, it's fine. So find it, make it unique, make it fun. One year when I was earlier, and this is when I couldn't keep up with as well. And I did it one year, but it gave me a ton of business. It's for Thanksgiving or for Valentine's Day. I found every widow and I bought her flowers and I sent her flowers to the house. It was just so heartwarming. And still to this day, most of the widows that come into our office, they give me a giant hug. And it's just heartwarming and wonderful.
So Matt, you've done some amazing things with this, and I love it. Live well and retire with confidence. That's an awesome phrase, and it only stays an awesome phrase unless you live into it.
Yeah.
And so living into this is what you're talking about. It's these events, and it's the pie event, and it's the heart attack, or Valentine's Day thing with the widows and loving on them and helping them. But let's go back to the basics. Let's go back to basic blocking and tackling. I'm just starting in the industry, or maybe I don't have the financial means where I can do the pie event and some other things. Where do I need to start to develop and build the trust and the relationship? How can I connect with these people that just came into my office and I don't even know them?
Yeah, I mean, it's so contrite what I'm going to say, but it's so true. Be trustworthy. Be a good human being. Do what you say you're going to do. Don't try to get that sell so bad that you try to like mince words or change words or not disclose anything. Like, be direct. People actually expect you to be direct. People expect the product to have things wrong with it. Tell them the bad things. Tell them the things that don't work. Be upfront. Be there to where you could be having Thanksgiving at their house and not have like a bit of regret in the whole part of the conversation. So these are the things that are like number one is just become that person. And it goes to tangible things like, I mean, I watch people that are starting in the business as not starting, and some people just exude that trustworthiness.
Yeah.
And you're like, they're going to make it.
Yeah.
They're just going to make it. And other people that it's just like, if you're in this business and people are like, oh, you're hard to trust, dude, just stop right now. Just stop it. Because I think that's a real critical part is become that trustworthy person and then get creative. What can you do? What can be fun that can work, that can engage people to you? And I mean, maybe it's as stupid as meet me for a picnic, do something where you're connecting that's not your normal thing.
Yeah.
And that will do it. But a big part is we've talked about a couple things in our past podcast that all lead up to this, mission, vision, your standards. If you don't have those three things lined up, you can't fake.
Yeah.
I've met agents that are successful that say they maybe don't have those things, but they do. They just haven't like exuded them on paper.
Yeah.
And that's, but the idea is you got to have those things down close enough to where you can live into that, and there can be expectations for your clients and for your staff and for everyone else on what you will do, and then live into it to have that success.
Well, ultimately, people can smell commission breath, right? They can tell the sales. You're laying it on hard. You're laying it on thick. And one of maybe the recommendations I would give to people in building trust is, and it's such a simple concept, is be present.
Yeah.
Be present. I don't care if it's a first appointment, second appointment, if it's an annual review, if it's follow-up, if it's just calling them to talk to them about their daughter who just went to college and is playing soccer. The reality is, and I just think with the attention being grabbed in 100,000 different directions right now, when you're in the appointment, the most important thing during that appointment is one thing, and it's that person sitting right there. It's the person on the other end of the phone, and you've got to detach yourself from other things.
100%. Getting a little personal and hopefully being a little brave to share this experience, but I had a situation with one of my businesses that went bad. really bad. And it was, we talk about these troughs and valleys that people go through in entrepreneurship. It was my all-time low. Um, and some of even the recommendations that I made hurt people. And while I wasn't responsible for anything that was a lie or anything like that, you know, I I was upfront. I was trustworthy through the whole process. The reason I'm sharing this is two things. I watched it, the other agents and advisors that were tied up in this thing as well. I watched it destroy their businesses. And when you do it right, I had clients that were affected by it come into my office with a giant hug saying, "I'm so worried about you. So worried about you."
Wow.
And I mean, this is a very small group of my overall practice. It was a small group that were affected by this thing. But it was awful to go through, but it was amazing when you build that trust in the relationship, how much it came back. And it bulletproofed my practice is stronger than it ever has been. Because of the principles and the things and the times that we put into people, and to get recommendations from people that were affected by this situation, they know we did it right, that we did everything right, and that we done enough good for them in so many other aspects of our life that this little tiny thing that went wrong meant nothing, because the overall strategies, the overall commitment, we doing what we said we would do, was so prevalent that all they saw was the good
Yeah.
amongst a world that can only see bad. And that to me was maybe my biggest compliment that I've received in the industry, is from my very own clients that were the very few that were affected by this thing, that not only stayed with me, but have brought me more business by themselves and others. And so, just to give you an idea of what that means to our business, forget the personal emotional component that to me I value very high. And I value my relationships with my clients incredibly high. And so it is important to me, and it is who I am. It is the authentic me. We get about 50 to 60% of our new revenue every year is from existing clients. And, when you're doing numbers like $30 to $35 million a year, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It's huge. And it's a testament to who you are, Matt. It's a testament, even that story, I saw you go through that, and it was hard, but the reality is you came out on the other side, the same Matt, working through it, the same trustworthy individual. And I think there's a component of, let me ask the question, and I'm going to put it in a provocative way to the community. Do you really know your clients?
Yeah. So, I mean, this is such a loaded question, right?
Yeah.
Because there's, some even laws around knowing your clients and suitability and fiduciaries that are,
Sure.
Forever kind of being changed and tweaked as the industry tries to regulate itself. And I think it's for all positive. I like what the industry's doing, or at least attempting to do. But often you'll do some case prep for someone, and it doesn't happen to me often, but we'll come back from one of the insurance carriers or investment groups, wherever we're doing, and they'll say, "That wasn't suitable." And you're like, have you talked to the client? Do you know what's going on? And it kind of cracks me up a little bit. But yeah, knowing the client and knowing what's suitable for them is a huge critical part of it. And it comes back to, how good are you asking questions, and how good are you at listening? There's some tough nuts to crack. And I just know that. Some people come in and it's like they've got all their statements, and they're like, "Hey, Matt," and I've never met you before, and here's all of my money everywhere. And you're like, "Great, I can help you with this." And then you get the people, they're like, "I don't know. Tell me what you got."
You're the expert.
Their legs are crossed, their arms are folded. What should I do with my money? And you're like, "Well, I don't know, maybe find someone you trust." So like if they're not even opening up to you, you just got to be direct with them and say, "Hey, first part of this is I kind of got to know what you have, so we can kind of find the path of doing whatever you're going to do with." And if they're not going to open up, I have learned that trying to sell them something before they open up is a waste of everyone's time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and just say, here's what I do, here's what I believe in. If you're interested in that, this is what I have to do, and this is my process. Because as soon as you break from that process, and I know this, as soon as you break from the process, you break from who you are, you change those standards, you try to sell them a product, and you don't really know what's going on in their situation.
Sure.
And all of a sudden, one of two things happens. They actually buy it, and then they come back on you on why it wouldn't have been so good, or it comes down to they don't buy it anyways because they were never going to buy it anyways, or it's one of those kind of things. And so it's really important to just go ahead and take the time to be like, hey, look, the most important step next is for you and I to be on the same page of what you want
Yeah.
and what you got.
Yeah. I hired a business coach many years ago, and one of the questions that he asked me is, Jared, do you have the courage to leave your agenda at the door? And I was like, I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know enough. There's not enough context around that.
Yeah.
But when we started talking about it, he's like, do you walk into meetings with a preconceived agenda that this is how it's going to go, and this is where I'm going to drive, and this is exactly where, right? And he said, I don't know that that's necessarily wrong to at least have
Yeah.
some thought and some agenda. But when you go in, can you leave it at the door long enough to really sit down and ask meaningful questions, to get to know them, to understand that, and then through a consultative method, go back to the door, maybe grab some of the agenda, but now you know how to consult and work with this individual and help them achieve the things that they need. I think it's empathy, right?
Yeah. I think that's spot on. I say emotionally, yes. Emotionally, can I leave the agenda at the door? I'm a strong believer. I got an agenda.
Yeah.
You came in order for me to stay suitable, compliant, and everything that I do, I got an agenda to follow. And if I break from it, I may be breaking from what would be compliant in my situation. So I have followed that, but you're spot on. As soon as I start saying, tell me about this account, can I listen enough? Can I put my agenda at the door and just listen? Tell me about this advisor or this agent. How do you feel about that? Are you happy with it? Well, great. Then don't change it. We've got to get there.
Yes.
Right? We've got to get there to where we're listening, and that's that's a key principle of building that trust. And I think that sometimes agents think that, well, if I control the situation and control what's going on, and oh my gosh, guys and gals, I'm so sick of agents that are having success by bashing other agents. I get it. There's some agents that make some really dumb decisions out there, but I'm talking to agents over and over and over again through our software Swivel. Talking to agents all over the country. They're good. They're really good. There's more good than bad. So let's not be idiots and be like, oh, this idiot, I don't know, or what she's doing, he was thinking, or whatever it be. Let's just help build off where people left off. And I think that what you do is you find that, because the old way of getting a customer was to down them so bad that you could make them so freaked out that you'd get the business. Consumers are starting to get smart to that.
Oh, yeah.
They know when, I go into a lawyer. Lawyer sees my old will and trust. Oh, what an idiot. I go to get my landscaper. I'm going to get some trees and rocks. Who did this last stuff? This was terrible. Usually it's me, so I can't blame them. But who is the professional that looks at the job done last time? If they're sitting there trashing on it, or my favorite is, I don't usually trash on people, but this is the worst I've ever seen. I'm like, oh gosh. So let's know that. Let's not be that agent or advisor. And let's just be like, what do you like?
Yeah.
What do you not like? Oh, you don't like that? Great. Would you like to change it? I can help you fix that today. That's the attitude that we want.
Yeah. So Matt, let's shift gears a little bit here and talk about navigating difficult conversations. And I'm a firm believer that these difficult situations. So I fought fires with the Snake River Valley Firefighters Association back in college to earn money. And I just remember them saying, I looked out there and I saw this burnt forest. I was on a hand crew and I just saw all this ash, and I'm like, man, that is devastating. That is terrible.
Yeah.
And my crew boss said something to me that stuck. Underneath that ash, now that it's been burned, is going to be the most nutrient-rich soil that you'll ever see. Give it some time. And so now I'm thinking about this relative to navigating difficult relationships and how you have them won. And are you able to save the deal? Are you able to maintain the relationship trust and all that you built up?
Yeah, no, I mean, I've clearly lost people over the years that because of difficult conversations. You know, maybe 10 years into my business, I used to brag and be like, I've only lost one client, and then, you know, times hit and stuff. And our ability to keep clients is incredibly high. So we've kept 98% roughly of every client that we've written, which is, I'm still very proud of that.
And a testament, right?
Well,
To your systems, your process, your
and
trust,
our staff, the
relationships.
people, everyone, and I'm high on the staff. And that's another thing I probably haven't mentioned that I should. We made a conscious effort to have our staff to have just as good as a relationship as we do with the advisor, or the agent, to make sure that that's in line. But going back to the core thought on this is, I personally am, when I have those conversations with people, I've had those moments. It's there's no easy way to do it, and usually it comes from false expectations. And so we can pin the false expectations on the customer, but I think we have to look at it. So, for example, if you are doing Medicare supplement and you're not getting all the policy information to the agent or to the customer on time, they can freak out. If you're doing wealth management and you're not managing losses, they can go crazy. If you're doing fixed index annuities and you sell return instead of safety, oh man, they can be really upset when you don't get a return. And sometimes people may not even say the wrong thing, but in the way that they're, people's assumptions of how it should go. I've had people come in very upset that they didn't make anything when they thought they should have made something. And this is crap, policy's crap, and maybe some different words they're using, and they come in hot, and then you just have to say, what did we buy this for? And what I've learned is, we're so quick to defend the product. Let's just live into what the customer's saying.
Amen.
Man, this is hard. This is not what I wanted either. I want what you want. But let's make sure that this is still suitable and in your best interest. But man, I want what you want. I hear you. Let's find a way to get you what you want.
So it brings me to a whole nother topic, Matt. Proactive versus reactive. And obviously I have the benefit of knowing some of your processes and systems, but I mean, maybe earlier on, and I'm just guessing that earlier on it's more reactive based, or what? How do we become proactive in our communication?
I'm a big believer of annual reviews. Unless you're that agent who's so brilliant that just says, look, we're never going to need to meet. Most of us are going to have to meet. Yeah. Most people are buying that. So if you're buying that, do you do what you say you're going to do? Do you send out information on annual reviews? Are you actually doing it? Or are you one of those people who just sends out a postcard and be like, oh, hope they say yes? Yeah. Are you, hey, I didn't hear from you. I just wanted to talk, just a couple quick things. That's proactive, because we don't want people coming back and being like, you bought this product and I never heard from you again.
Yeah.
So I'm a big believer you have to have systems, technology in place, because once you get to a couple thousand clients, it's too hard. You need technology to get you there. Shoot, a couple hundred clients is too hard. Just get technology to make sure you're doing the annual reviews and doing what you need to be doing.
So Matt, as we wrap this up, this episode, talk to me about technology, how you use technology, and maybe share some ideas and thoughts around what you can do to make this all more palatable.
Yeah. So at one time we had about 30 employee/staff members in our organization. We do more production now with about 4 staff members.
And yourself is a fifth?
Well, myself and another advisor is it. And technology does everything else. Those 4 staff members, 3 of them are really there to just make sure there's a human connection. But the technology does everything else. There's
and when you say technology, Matt, what do you mean?
So I mean typically like the CRM software. I'm the CEO of Swivel, and with Swivel we have some really unique features. One of them is that we can do annual reviews, an automated annual review. So it's sending out annual review notices via email or whatever it may be, and it's just a checker that makes sure that can get done. And not an Excel spreadsheet, something that's kind of automated that can do it. The second thing is to have information at all time. So what happens most of the time with most people is people don't have confidence when they don't know how much money they have. And they get even less confidence when they have to call you to find out.
Yeah.
And then they have even less confidence when you don't call them back in less than 2 hours or an hour.
Yeah.
We've created it to where, with an app, or you can log in and you can see not just your account with X company and Y company, but you can see it all in one place.
All products.
All products, everything in one place. Because what happens is I was at this company, why can't I just go to one spot? Like really quickly, and pretty soon, I'm pretty excited about this. We have an app that's coming out that the customer can click the app and see everything in one spot. And that one thing, the trust that they have in me because they can see everything in one spot just goes through the roof.
So Mary could legitimately be at a soccer game or son's soccer game and call up old Matt Walker and say, "Hey Matt, I just saw the market tanked. I'm super frustrated. What's going on?" And you would
just go to your app, Mary. Let me show you real quick. Click, right? Pull that up. You see where everything is? This is where it all is right now. You can see it all right there. Every account, I'm not going to this account, pulling up this form. And, if you're in wealth management and all your money's in wealth management, there's a lot of things. But when it comes to fixed index annuities, cash value life insurance, and then your wealth management, and you're tying all those things together, and maybe you have a Medicare supplement policy with you, just to have it all in one spot, that's a game changer.
Yeah.
And so, I kind of cheat and you're saying, hey, you got all these great relationships. Well, yeah, I put a lot of money and a lot of effort and time to get that trust emotionally, but I've also created systems that I quote unquote cheat with. When they think of me, they think of, oh, I know exactly where the money. I've had people say, leaving you is hard because it's nice to have everything all in one spot right here that I can just see it, update it. I don't have to go anywhere else. And I'm like, it's nice, huh? And so having that is a huge thing.
Well, I think that equally as painful is all the time and effort that you put into building all this relationship as trust is to see them sieve out the back door.
Yeah.
And I applaud you, Matt, for implementing the technology, implementing the events, implementing all of these different strategies into your business to be proactively communicating. And I know that it's developed a deeper, more meaningful relationship with those customers, clients. But the one thing that really, man, it just spoke to my heart was when you said, I think it was 50 or 60% of all your repeat business comes from what?
My existing customers.
Your existing customers. That's off the hook. Like anyone listening to this is either calling you a liar or they're saying, man, that's amazing. That's incredible. I've seen that.
Yeah.
And it's through all that stuff. So I want to encourage everybody that's listening today. I want you just to think of the one thing that you can do today that will start building a deeper connection with your clients. Be more present with them. And as you're more present with them and you're engaging in them with a proactive approach, you're going to see things in your business start shifting for the positive. You'll start developing trust with these customers and clients, and your business is going to grow to the extent that you do. Thanks for joining us. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe and follow us on your preferred platform wherever you listen to podcasts. Remember, success loves company, so share this podcast with someone who you think might enjoy it too, and let's build a community together. Let's keep the momentum going until the next episode drops. And hey, if you got any questions or topic ideas that you would like us to focus on, send us a message on social media. Again, thanks so much for joining us. Until next time.